Hi, everybody. I'm Mrs. Cooper. Welcome to Ignite Online. This is going to be a great third grade year, and I'm excited to share a lot of information with you all. So let's get started. First things first, we'll need to know some login information. So, if you were a previous JR2 student, your login information for your device in Google is going to be the same. If you're new to the district, you should have received that login information when you picked up your device. So, our username and passwords follow the same format for everyone, and they'll be pretty similar across all of our logins. So, for the computer, for Google, and different things like Seesaw and iReady that we'll be using throughout the year, they follow the same format. The username is just your first initial, last name, and the year you graduate, in this case, 30. And my username would be eCooper30. And then the password is just the word pass with 4 digits behind it. So an example of that would just be PASS1234. As we go, or as we prepare for the new year, I will be sending reminders about login information. We will be getting some new usernames and passwords just for different websites and things, and I will share those out as we go. I will email parents that information, and I will push student information out via Google Classroom so that everyone has the information that they need, especially for the upcoming first day of school. All right, so our daily and weekly schedule. First of all, make sure that you have our class website saved. You want that to be able to be quickly accessible and handy so that you can check that each morning. So, our daily and weekly schedule will be pretty consistent from day to day and week to week. Of course, this is always subject to change, but checking that website each morning, looking at the daily assignments and tasks and the schedule for the week so that you all can plan around Zoom meetings and different things, that's going to be really important. So every day we'll have whole group lessons, usually in the morning, and small group lessons in the afternoon. And those will be the times that your student will need to be on Zoom at a specific time. So those will be scheduled ahead of time, and then each week's schedule will be posted on Thursday evenings. They'll be pretty bare bones, but that way families have an overview of what's coming up for the week ahead. Now, because they'll be bare bones and just the outline, links for assignments and Zoom meetings and different things like that will not be clickable or accessible until the day of instruction. So if it's Tuesday and I'm trying to click around on Thursday stuff, they're not going to be clickable yet. All of that being said, the first week will be different. We're going to have a lot to cover. We've got routines to get down, lots of tech stuff to learn. So, parents and students, this is going to be a huge learning curve for all of us. And so, we all need to be patient with each other and give each other grace and understand that, hey, this first week will be different. It's going to be rough, but we'll get through it. So, what to expect? So, the very first day of school and every day after that, we will have our day start with a morning meeting. So, we will get on Zoom. That's the first thing we'll do each morning. Actually, the first thing y'all will do is check the website, right? And then you'll get the link for the Zoom there. So, during the morning meeting, we will have an overview of the day's lesson, or I guess the day's learning tasks, look over the schedule and different things. And we'll also have an opportunity to share with each other and create a positive tone for the day, and hopefully build some positive relationships with each other, the classmates and Mrs. Cooper. So each day we'll have assignments to complete. So with classwork, it needs to be completed that day. So Tuesday's assignments need to be completed by the end of the day on Tuesday. Same with Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, all of that. When it's assigned, it needs to be completed. Now, sometimes, obviously, there will be things that we work on over the course of several days, but that will be noted. If nothing is explicitly stated, the classwork needs to be completed that day. Students' work should be their own, and that means that there should be limited assistance from parents on the majority of our work. And we want students to really have that productive struggle. And normally, when we hear the word struggle, we don't think that that's a good thing. But in fact, it can be when used in the right way. So if you click the link here, it'll take you to another page where it has several links that you can click to learn what productive struggle is and why we want kids to really grapple with and dig deep into their learning and build that perseverance. So, parents, it's okay to help sometimes, but only if your student has really not given up and they've really tried some things on their own first. All right. So all of our classwork will be accessible via the website. And then from the website, we will have things linked to Seesaw and Google Classroom, Zearn, which is a math program, iReady, lots of different things. And those will all be accessed through the website. Now, as far as communication goes, our main communication is going to be email and website. Now, the email is going to be mostly for you parents. The website is going to be for students and parents. So I make small changes to that, and I've been making small changes daily, and I'll continue to make small changes to that. But the website is going to have your most up-to-date information on it. We'll also use Seesaw to communicate, and that'll be for parents and students where we post work and we can comment on it and things like that. Google Classroom is how that will be another communication piece for the students. Now, if you need to contact me, I am available via email, text, or phone from 8 to 4 every school day. Now, response time will vary because obviously, if we're in the middle of a lesson, I do keep my phone, or I will have my phone on me in case you need to text me and say, hey, we're really having trouble logging into Zoom. We can't figure this out. And so I will be able to hopefully respond rather quickly in those situations. But outside of those hours, just be patient with me. Response time will vary. Sometimes it might be quick. Sometimes it might take me a little bit long or longer, but we'll get it worked out. And so my contact information is listed there. I will say I usually do prefer if you contact me via my cell phone. You can text me or call me, or my email. The school number is there, and you are welcome to call me at school, but it just cuts out the middleman if you use my email or my cell phone. All right. So, like I said, every day we will have Zoom meetings, like whole group lessons. So, we'll have all 30 plus students on Zoom at the same time. And I will be teaching live our math lessons and our ELA lessons, which are reading and writing. In the afternoons, I'll be meeting with small groups. So I will send Zoom links for 4 or 5 students at a time. And so just those 4 or 5 students will get on and we'll do some work with just that group of us for a short time. So these lessons, we call them synchronous because everyone does them at the same time. So I like to think about it as synchronized swimming because that makes the word synchronous make more sense in my head. So everyone does it at the same time. We're all there participating and reacting to the same things. Now, during these live stream Zoom lessons, there are some friendly reminders here. First of all, make sure that your student shows up on time and they have their materials ready to go. You also need to make sure that your student is in an appropriate location. So not somewhere where they're constantly going to be moving around. If they're sitting on the couch and like laying around and getting up and carrying their computer around the house, well, that's going to make the rest of us pretty seasick. Um, Students also need to be respectfully participating, so making sure that they are listening, that they're following along, and when it's time to interact, that they are interacting. Students will be required to hear the lesson and respond, so it wouldn't be enough to just watch it. You need to be listening and then be able to respond when needed. So headphones are recommended just because it helps block out other noises. And then it is recommended that you all use your camera on the computer so that Mrs. Cooper can see you and the other students can see you, especially when we're working in small groups. And that's going to be really helpful. And then avoid distractions. And I put that little squirrel there because I'll be doing something like, oh, and I get distracted and I think, oh, squirrel. So we just need to make sure that we follow these simple guidelines. All right. During independent lessons or asynchronous lessons, that's that last bullet down there, everyone is going to be doing this on their own. So this time you think about synchronized swimming gone wrong. Students can choose the pace of the lessons in this case, but again, the lessons and the work must be completed by the end of the day because all of our lessons will build on each other. Students are responsible for their own work. So again, students aren't expected to master every lesson the first time. So they're doing their own work. They're working through the lesson at their own pace, and they are hopefully going through some of that projective struggle. And again, you can read more about that by clicking on the link. All right. So, with this learning from home and everything being virtual, we want to make sure that we set up a good student workspace at home. Now, if you can make sure that your student workspace is separate from the rest of your daily schedule, separate from free time, that separation is a good thing because that kind of prepares our brains and gets our bodies ready. Like, hey, when I'm over here, I'm focused, I'm ready to learn and follow along and participate. And then when I go, to the couch or I go somewhere else that's more comfortable, I can think, okay, now I can relax. Now I can let down my guard. We also want to try to avoid distractions. So we don't want to be sitting right in front of the TV or where the rest of the family is going to be walking around and doing a lot of things in front of us. We also want to look out for sound distractions as well. If someone's always yelling in the background, I know my kids, when they're playing, they get pretty noisy and different things. And again, the headphones will help with that. And then keep toy distractions out of the way, things like that. You really want a place that you can focus. You also want to make sure that your area is comfortable, but not too comfortable. No falling asleep. We want to keep our materials handy. So your workbooks, pens and pencils, your crayons, any other materials you might have. You need to have those ready because if it's time to cut something, especially when we do things in math, you'll need to cut, you'll need to draw, stuff like that. We want to have those handy so that you can follow along with the lesson. An outlet for your device, that'd be a handy thing to have. If not, that's okay. You can always charge it in a separate location. Make sure that you have appropriate lighting. So a lamp or light from a window, something that is going to be able, especially when you're on Zooms, to give light to your face and not have light coming from behind you. And then there's a sample video that you can click on to watch someone set up theirs. And when she was setting up hers, some things will apply and some things won't, but you get kind of a fun idea of what that might look like. When handling your device at home, make sure that you don't have any food or drink near your device. You want to always carry it with two hands. Be gentle with the screen and the buttons. Make sure your hands are clean. You don't want to have just eaten something and been all over your face and then touching that and getting the keyboard and everything all gross. That wouldn't be nice. Avoid setting things on top of it when it's closed. So when you close the computer and you're maybe going to stack up your stuff for the end of the day, maybe if you've got a couple books there, stack the computer on top. Try not to stack a whole lot on it. And Again, don't use sharp objects on your screen. You don't want to scratch it or cause any harm to that either. All right, so here's the next thing, and this is a big deal. Problems will happen. Problems will happen with technology. Problems will happen with being able to figure out what we're supposed to do on a task. Problems will happen within an assignment where you're like, oh my gosh, I don't understand. And so when those problems happen, guess what we're going to do? Problem solve. So it's really important to give yourself the opportunity to problem solve. So when things aren't working, think about focusing on understanding as many details about the problem as possible. And always assume that a solution exists and that if you keep digging and you do enough digging, that you will find it. And you know what? Be curious. So yes, it can be frustrating. Take that deep breath. Think, you know what? There is a solution. I can figure it out and be curious. But when you are problem solving, don't focus on the pressure or the consequences of the problem, because that's only going to make you feel worse. And don't give in to your frustration, or don't think, hey, this can't be done, because we need to stay positive. Hey, it can get done. I'm going to keep pushing through. I'm going to persevere. Don't give up. Now, if you try all of those things and you still need help, you're like, oh my gosh, I just don't get it. You can always check out the frequently asked questions page on the website. You could reach out and ask someone for help, whether that be a parent, a sibling, a friend, Mrs. Cooper. I will say, and I am always willing to help, but I also want you to understand that I want you to contact me after you've tried something on your own. So every time that a student is going to ask for help, I'm going to say, hey, what have you tried so far? That way I know that they've tried something, they've tried a little bit of that productive struggle, they've stayed positive, been patient with themselves, and that's what's so important for our learning. And again, there's my contact information listed. You can use all three of those to contact me. But again, make sure you're working through it on your own first. So this year is going to be fabulous. It's going to be a great year. It's going to be a learning process for all of us. I cannot wait to get started. I know all of you are so curious, and there'll be more information to come. Thank you for your patience, and I look forward to meeting and working with all of you.